Alright everyone, how's it going? Rick Rackett back with you again. Today, bringing you a playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater Master Collection Edition. This time I will be playing on my PC, on my gaming laptop, as opposed to my Steam Deck, which is what I usually do these things on. The game performs quite well on the Steam Deck. If you watched my video going over the bug fixes, or not bug fixes, but how to get the game to boot up properly. I showed a little bit of gameplay for both 2 and 3 in that video, and both games run at a buttery smooth 60 frames per second from start to finish. I've played through both games, no cutscenes, but I've played through both games, just the gameplay, and again, locked 60 frames per second all the way. So I decided to give everyone the best viewing experience that I can by going with the Steam Deck version, or going with the Steam version on PC, excuse me, and running it at 1080p. I've already configured the INI file. You can get a very easy resolution fix for this game. For anyone that wants to see that, let me know, and I'll put a link to it in the description or in the pinned comment, or I'll respond to your comment directly with the link to the video. But it's very, very easy to set up. But for this playthrough, I'm going for no kills. I just completed a playthrough doing no alerts, and I was trying to do a no-kill playthrough in that one as well, but apparently I killed 2 people. Now, I had heard from someone that shooting the end at the beginning of the fight, or not at the beginning of the fight, but shooting him while he's on that boardwalk doesn't count as a kill, but I believe that it does, so I'm not going to do that this time. Now, I want to preface what I'm about to say by saying that I absolutely love this game. I've played through it hundreds of times, and now that I have it on the Steam Deck, on my gaming laptop, and on the Nintendo Switch, I'll play it 100 times more, possibly even 1,000 times more. I think the game is infinitely replayable. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It's just great. But going back to something I talked about in my my Twin Snakes playthrough. I've done 2 playthroughs on this channel, and one is GoldenEye, the other is the Twin Snakes. But going back to something I said back then, people act as if the Metal Gear series all of a sudden became too easy with just the Twin Snakes, and that Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 are not too easy. But the inclusion of the trank gun in the first-person view mode make these games significantly easier than, say, the first Metal Gear Solid that had neither of those things. It's so easy to make long-distance headshots in this game. I missed on that one. It doesn't even really matter if you get a headshot, though. Like, you do a headshot because you want to take them down instantly, but you don't have to get a headshot. You can shoot them twice and basically get the same effect. I kind of got used to playing this with my Xbox One Duke controller on my last playthrough. Now I'm playing it with a standard Series X controller, and the range of movement in the analog sticks is a lot shorter. So when you're moving the sticks and trying to aim, you end up covering a lot more distance than you would with a controller that has a larger area of movement. The analog sticks on the Xbox One Duke controller are very wide.
He's a member of the
I will be skipping cutscenes. I had already created a save at the very start of this. That's why you didn't see me go for the backpack or anything. I just decided to go ahead and load this save up and save some time. If I get spotted, I'm just going to go with it because, again, I'm not going for a no alert playthrough. I'm going for a no kills playthrough. Doesn't matter if I get spotted or not. I could whip out my stealth camouflage, which I unlocked on the last playthrough, and do things that way, but that'd make it a little too easy. The way I'm playing it through now is how most people, I think, would play through the game. On a first playthrough, anyway. Or maybe not necessarily a first playthrough, but if you don't have New Game Plus, essentially, if you don't have the stealth and infinite ammo. Nah, I hit the wrong one. I always do that. But God, the load times on this are insanely quick. Insanely quick. I love it. That's the whole thing for me. You know, aside from the preservationist aspect of it, of having a proper PC port, or just a PC port in general of Metal Gear Solid 3, but having one that's optimized as well as it is. I know it has issues. There's bugs that need to be ironed out, but God, the load times are so quick, and not just the load times going from one area to the next, but also the loading between cutscenes and gameplay. That's almost instantaneous. It's almost seamless, almost. You can't really appreciate that unless you played prior versions of Metal Gear Solid 3 and MGS2 as well. MGS2 is the same way, lightning quick. But yeah, it's really nice. Interestingly enough, on the Nintendo Switch, the load times are fairly fast on MGS3, but they're a lot faster in MGS2. But also the codec delay is still present on the Nintendo Switch version, at least as of the time I'm recording this. And from what I remember, people saying, because they had that event a few months back where people got to play the Master Collection, and they were all playing the Nintendo Switch version. And I believe people from that event were saying that, yeah, the codec delay was fixed. But then playing it now on an actual, or playing it, the actual version of the game that we've got on Switch, it's still there. Or I don't know, it seems almost like they were playing an updated version of the game back then. I don't know if that's the case or not, but hopefully they'll get that issue ironed out at some point for the Nintendo Switch. It is really nice having those games on Switch. I need to go back and finish my playthrough of MGS3 on that. Uh-oh. So yeah, you can run up behind these guys, and as long as you react quickly enough, you can take them down before they go into an alert mode, which is helpful. It's amazing how, if you've played a game so many times and you take such a long break from it and come back to it, how the controls, that muscle memory kicks in. And I know that MGS1 on the Master Collection has some issues with the analog stick. Like it doesn't have full analog control. It's 8 directions. And I think that's maybe what was throwing me off when I was playing that on the Master Collection on the Steam Deck, because I was just getting my butt handed to me towards the end of the game. I lost on the Rex fight. I lost twice to Liquid. I'm like, this isn't supposed to happen. And hearing that there are issues with like the movement, I'm like, well, that makes me feel a little better, because with MGS2 and 3, I'm not as good as I used to be, but a lot of that muscle memory has been retained, and it really goes a long way. I need to watch like some current speedruns of these games, because I'm sure there's a whole lot of new speedrun tactics that have been discovered that I could learn. I'm probably operating on some older speedrun material here, but I don't know. I still get through the game fairly quickly. I think my last playthrough was under 2 hours, which I'm pretty okay with. I'm hoping I get it under 2 hours for this one as well. I was doing a lot of stopping and saving on the last playthrough, though. I won't have to do that this time because I'm not going for no alerts. Excuse me. That's the old Baja Blast kicking in. I got these little mini cans. They were the last ones that they had. I got them like a month ago. I still haven't gotten through all of them yet. It's nice if you want just a little something to drink, but don't want to drink a full can. So this would be like a fight that I wonder if people have found quicker ways of getting through. When the last time I watched a world record speed run of this game, this is how they did it. You hide out underneath the bed, wait for them to break in, toss 2 stun grenades. That'll knock it down to 4 enemies. Then you go in here. I got the shrink gun. I need that. I find this DPM to be a fairly useful camo in the early game. Trying to get in position. So one thing I keep bringing up when it comes to this collection, why I would prefer it, or why I prefer it over emulation, is the lack of pressure sensitivity. If you want to aim the gun without shooting it, you just click the left analog stick and it'll ready the gun. It's not a big difference maker for pistols because you have to let off the fire button to fire them, but with assault rifles, especially in MGS2, it's a necessity. It doesn't, you know, aiming assault rifles in the story mode, not that big a deal, but when it comes to the VR mode, there are VR missions in that game where you have to aim, where you have to hold up guys using the assault rifle or one of the assault rifles. And God, doing that on PlayStation 3 was such a pain in the ass. And I don't think the PlayStation 3, it had pressure sensitive face buttons like the PS2 did, but the degree of sensitivity, I believe, was a lot different than what the PS2 had. And I think what happened with the HD collection is that the pressure sensitivity was not recalibrated properly for the PlayStation 3. Or maybe it was, and because there's such little room there for there's, I don't know quite how to describe it. There's not as a high degree of sensitivity, I guess, in the PS3 controller as there was in the PS2 controller. So trying to aim an M4 or an AKS-74U in MGS2 on the PlayStation 3 was borderline impossible. I say borderline, you could do it. I did it. I completed every VR mission in MGS2 on the HD collection. But man, 360 players had it so much better, and I'm so glad that that is now the default control scheme across all versions of the collection. My cat is crawling around my very small DVD collection. I used to have quite an extensive DVD and Blu-ray collection, but I sold almost everything except for my what few anime seasons and such that I have, which is mostly Dragon Ball Z and my Star Wars movies. I have a copy of the, I don't know what's stealth. I have a copy of the despecialized editions, and I couldn't part with those. So there's a little trick there that I think most people are familiar with. Use the bug juice before you go into this water, because this water is infested with leeches. Leeches don't do any damage, they take away stamina, and if you get a whole bunch of them on you, then they'll take a lot of stamina very quickly. You can go into the cure menu and just burn them off, but this is a much quicker way of doing it to where you don't have to mess around with that. And let's go. I really don't need it right now, but I'll have it on the to where I can quickly equip it when I need to. So that's a tactic you'll see me use quite a bit. It's a very popular trick among speedrunners for MGS3 and MGS2 as well. It's called tactical reloading, and essentially what it is that you quickly equip and unequip a weapon to it does two things, or it can do one of two things. One is that it reloads the clip or the magazine in the gun every time you do it, which is good. So you completely skip the whole reloading animation. And with guns like the MK22 or the shotgun, you can cancel out the individual reload animation, where it's like the shotgun where he pumps it, or the MK22 where he pulls the slide back to load in a new round. You can cancel that out, which is really cool, and it's can save a decent amount of time. There's some boss fights where it really comes in useful. This is something I touched on in my GoldenEye playthrough, but I love games like this, these PS2 era games, and PS2 and before, but games like this, these linear games that are so tight and that have such little downtime. You know, games these days, more often than not, they're either open world, or if they're linear, they're going for like a really heavy cinematic focus, to where you have all these like cinematic moments in the gameplay, which are cool to look at, they're cool to see for the first time, but when you're going through a game on a second or third playthrough, more often than not, they just end up slowing down the pace of the gameplay. And I don't find that to be, I mean, they can be speedrun friendly, it's just, it's so much downtime you have where you're not in control, and I'm just not a big fan of that. I miss games like this where the story was contained to the codec and the cutscenes, and then it was contained to the codec and the cutscenes, and the gameplay was the gameplay. So when you're playing, you're playing. You're not being, nothing's really slowing you down. The only thing that's going to slow you down is yourself. Didn't really have to put that guy to sleep, but I figured why not. There was a camouflage up here. That's another one, another trophy or achievement I need to go for, is getting all the camouflages and all the face paints. Is it in here? Ah, there it is. Choco chip. My cat is now moved over to the bottom of the bookshelf. They love sleeping on the bottom of that bookshelf. I have two cats. That's the smallest one. His name is Doc. It's Doc and Squeak. Squeaks is the big one. Doc's the little one. I don't know if they'll ever appear on camera or not, but I thought I'd throw it out there anyway. So we're coming up on the Ocelot fight. Always important when you're doing a boss fight, especially if you're going for a no kill run, is to take off the suppressor, because you want to save your suppressors for when you're sneaking around. So you can see me doing the quick the tactical reload, quickly hitting the right trigger and then hitting it again. I'm just going to sit here and soak up shots because it's not really going to matter. Trying to go for a headshot. I was like, I gotta get that out before he moves. There is something kind of screwed up in the controls when it comes to the tactical reload, where sometimes when you do it, the gun will be, he'll be aiming the gun, other times he won't. So that's another thing they could probably adjust, hopefully. It's not a huge deal, but it has thrown me off a few times. See right there, that did kind of mess me up. Now, if you're playing this on extreme, you want to be a little bit more, you want to try and dodge his shots, because you only have so much health to give, and you can only lose so much health anyway without risking your Foxhound rank, if you're going for a Foxhound rank. There we go, headshot. And you want to try to go for headshots too, because it takes away more of his stamina. The game does have location damage. I've already picked up his camouflage, so I don't need to... I was about to say I don't need to do it again. Not that I could. That doesn't make any sense. Alright. Go grab the torch real quick. I don't really need it myself. I can get by with the cigar, but just for the viewer experience, I'll go ahead and pick it up, and that way you can see through the cave. This cave used to be so hard for me to navigate when I played through it the first few times. And then I finally got to a point where I memorized the layout. Big boss like myself enjoys a good cigar. You get to see the crabs as we go through here. Apparently, I wasn't really on the internet at the time, I guess, or not in circles where I was seeing a lot of memes. I didn't really see too many memes until I got into like Twitter and such. But apparently, the crab battle was a very popular meme back in the day. People have brought it up here recently with the Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater gameplay. You see one of the crabs in the water. God, that game looks gorgeous. I cannot wait for that to come out. One of the playthroughs I'm looking forward to doing the least, and you could group the playthroughs. Like, you could probably just about sweep every achievement in the game on one playthrough if you planned it out right. But I'd rather split them up and just focus on one thing at a time, because the game's so quick anyway. I'm all for playing it as many times as I can. But the one I'm looking forward the least to doing is the Kirotan, whatever, the little frogs that you have to shoot. It's not the worst. Like, it's Metal Gear's version of a collectible, and it's not the worst collectible in a video game ever, but there's some towards the end, like when you're on that motorcycle, excuse me, that just are kind of a pain in the butt to get. And I've already gotten the reward for doing it. Like, if you shoot all the Kirotans, whatever, you get stealth camouflage, but the game gives you two ways of getting that. You can either shoot the frogs, or you can play through the game without getting spotted, which is a lot easier, because the thing is, you could save the game as many times as you want. Like, anytime you enter a new area, that counts as a checkpoint. So if you just save the game there, then you can load it back up if you get spotted, and then you're all good. Whereas with Kirotans, if you miss one and you didn't know that you missed one, then your whole playthrough is shot, or your whole reason for doing the playthrough is shot. Don't think I'll need those WP grenades, but I'll equip them anyway just in case. So I'm about to utilize the tactical reload again for the Pain, the second boss fight of the game. I actually want to equip the Hornet camouflage. I don't think that Hornet Stripe, it's supposed to protect you from hornets. I don't really know if it does during this fight or not. but I'll do it anyway. I think it's more for protecting you from hornets when you shoot the nest out of the trees, which makes sense. Right, there's the first phase of the fight. So you have two methods of getting his hornet shield off. You can do what I'm doing right now, hit him with 3 shotgun shells and it'll go away. Or you can throw a grenade at him, which works too. Now that's going to do some damage to him. Yeah. Don't know why that grenade didn't explode. Maybe it didn't fully form yet. Dang it. This is my problem with doing this, is that I end up getting... I try to do it so fast that I don't know if I've got the gun equipped. I'm not even looking at... Shit. I don't even look at the weapon icon down there, the UI. I'm focused on him, see what he's doing. Dang it. Yeah, that needs some work, that whole... Crap. Yeah, that's kind of iffy. It doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Or maybe that's just maybe it's a consequence of not having the pressure sensitivity. Maybe it's that way on the 360. I don't remember. I didn't play it that extensively on the Xbox 360, to be honest. I think I played through it maybe one time. I bought it while it was on sale on the Xbox store, but yeah, I don't know. Still, I hope there's something they can do with that, or maybe the modding community can fix it. As it does kind of throw you off. I mean, I still got through it just fine. Actually need to have Snake eat something because the stamina is kind of dropping. So one of the advantages too of playing games on the laptop while I'm recording is that I can hear the game. I guess I could put the headphones into the Steam Deck, but then I don't know if the audio would come through. I don't know if the audio would come through on the capture card side of things. I'd have to try it out and see. I'm sure there's a way where I can hear the game and record it at the same time. I'm just not technically proficient enough right now to know that offhand, or know how to do it at least. With a game like this, it does help to be able to hear certain things. There are certain audio cues from boss fights and such that can help you out. I think the one thing, and it's just occurred to me, the one thing that's going to slow me down on this playthrough compared to my last one is that in the last one I did shoot the end on the boardwalk ahead, and I won't be doing that this time. So actually fighting him will take a little bit more time than just shooting him in the head before he has a chance to fight back. Actually, let's go in here real quick. Put away. And there we go. Now I need that. That's a common criticism of MGS3 is how much time you spend in menus when it comes to like swapping camouflages and inventory management. For me, that's become less and less of a thing the more I play through it. You know, I think everyone's first time playing through the game, they're crawling around a lot and constantly swapping camouflages to try and get the highest rating that they can. But once you've played through the game so many times, you kind of know what you can get by with in terms of the camouflage rating. So you don't find yourself swapping as much. And if you're doing a no-kill playthrough, which I almost always do in MGS3, well, in all the MGS games, really. Dang, that screwed up. I screwed that one up big time. If you're doing no-kill playthroughs in MGS3, you're not really swapping. You're not really needing to go into the inventory that often because you're just using your tranquilizer gun for the most part anyway. Use the old sneaking suit. Really? Yeah, well, there's our first alert. Huh. Like I said, I wasn't going for no alerts, so it's all good. Just no kills. We get into the next area, that alert will go away because there are no enemies in the next area. I knew that was going to happen. I knew as soon as I did that was going to happen. Let's just play it safe and hang from the ledge. It's getting low on suppressors there, so I needed to grab that one. I used to have a pretty good memory as to where the extra suppressors were, because I know there's quite a few of them in the early part of the game. But, I don't know, I've kind of forgotten where most of them are at. That's also another glitch that needs to be fixed, is sometimes when you quickly equip and unequip a gun, when you re-equip it, he's aiming it. He just goes into an aiming stance. Well, that was a bit messy, not gonna lie. That's the kind of playthrough, not that I have any plans right now to do live streams, but if I were to, I wouldn't do any revolving around no alert playthroughs because there's just too much room for error. No kill, you can screw up a no kill run accidentally, but it's a bit harder to do. I accidentally screwed it up last time by shooting the end in the head, but that's because I was operating on false information regarding whether or not that was classified as a kill. That might be a suppressor. Nah, it's for the 1911. I'm gonna run over to this warehouse and get the M16. I want to have 2 assault rifles going into the fear fight. Usually just need the AK. The AK is usually enough to get through it, but I like having them both just in case I don't take him out with a full round or a full magazine of AK ammo. I can switch to the M16 and then take him out with that. And we have the scientist uniform. Don't... yeah, I didn't think so. For some reason I was thinking that the sleep gas cigarettes carried over on New Game Plus, but it doesn't. I don't know why I thought that. For some reason I think that keep thinking you can roll over that that guardrail, but you can't. Now these scientists will recognize you if they get up close, so you kind of want to wait for them to have their back turned. So here what I'm going to do is take off the camouflage, or take off the scientist uniform. The scientist uniform wearing it prohibits you from... oh, that was close. I did not know he was sitting there. Wearing the scientist uniform prohibits you from using a gun. You can use the cigarettes, but you can't use an actual gun. I'm actually going to leave... yeah, let's put it back on, because I think I'll need it again here in a second. I think my next playthrough I'll be going for the capturing or killing all the animals and trying to get the remaining camouflages and face paints. I don't know what the plural for camouflage is. Is it camouflage or camouflages? I don't know. Right. Now right there I was going in and out of the menu a lot. I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. That was for good measure. That's just because you guys pissed me off. You know what? One for you too. What a bunch of assholes. I hate that that scientist is always like pacing back and forth between that one spot. That's something I gotta get better on with when it comes to timing. Excuse me. I'm not going to worry about putting any of these guys to sleep. I'll just sneak right by them. Really didn't need to shoot the dog, but since I already kind of alerted him, I thought it might be a good idea because he might see me as I'm walking by. If you don't alert him, you can just kind of run on past, but there you go. Yeah, I don't need that. Alright, here we go. So, this one's got a pretty fun little glitch you can do. So, yeah, I'll click this too. Well, yeah, I don't need that. And I got stun grenades. Yes. but I don't have a death pill. I was just talking about not having to go in and out of the menu so much, and here I am running in and out of the menu. But God, them increased loading times really help out a lot when it comes to that. So you take the fake death pill, you wait for him to come down here, he'll kind of taunt you a little bit. And eventually he'll turn around. Once he turns around, hit the revival pill. Chuck a stun grenade next to his feet. Then start hammering him with the AK. And that counts as a stamina kill, not a kill. Probably the only boss fight that's easier than the Ocelot fight in the Twin Snakes. And no, I'm not comparing the two. I know in the Twin Snakes you're using a legitimate method that the game offers you to take out Ocelot, and doing so makes the fight very easy. Whereas this is a glitch, or what I did just now is a glitch. But still, very, very easy. I go through the door. Sometimes I can roll onto that platform or those crates or boxes, and then other times I completely overshoot it. So just so I don't have to keep retrying at it. We're about to come up on the end boss fight, which again I did not do last time. There's actually a good reason to do the fight, because not only do you get his camouflage, but you also get his sniper rifle, which fires tranq darts, and that could come in handy on certain boss fights, particularly the boss at the end. The boss, not, you know, a boss fight, the boss. Use thermal goggles and kind of see where the enemies are at. Hey. It's hilarious. My cat will grab the wall and start scratching at it, and have like these really crazy eyes, and then if you say something to him, he'll look at you and then quickly run away. It's hilarious. Now it's time to see if my memory for the end will kick in. I need to try and hold him up because there's an achievement for that. Did he go and move into Area 3? I don't think I've ever had that happen before. Usually he'll move into a second spot in Area 1, and then he'll move into Area 2, and then if you don't finish him off there, he'll move into Area 3 and then back to Area 2. So that's curious. I really hope the directional microphone works, and that's not some kind of glitch with the Master Collection where it doesn't work. Otherwise, finding him is going to be a little bit more difficult. Ah, there he is. Nah, I don't need to equip that. way. I know this is a little slow and methodical, and if I didn't need to get that achievement, I wouldn't, I might even edit this out. Just cut around this fight and show the most interesting bits, or show the parts where I get to them. I got impatient. I got impatient. That was dumb. That was so dumb. He was like right there. If I just waited, I would have gotten him. Might ambush him here. Alright, we got him, we got him, we got him. Almost forgot, I think I said earlier that you get his camouflage by stealth, or by trank killing him, or stamina, taking out a stamina. But I just remembered, it's holding him up that gets you the camouflage. This isn't working. There we go. I feel like there's a bug here. Usually if you aim at his head and then aim away, it's Fight like a man. Alright. He's got some invincibility frames on him for sure. But I got his camouflage now, and that gets you 100% in these 3 areas. So we will take advantage of that. There he is over there. Is he looking this way? He's kind of looking in this direction. I'm not going to chance it. Haha. Got you with the cigarettes. There's his gun. Alright. Not too bad. Not my best run with the end, but not my worst either. I got what I wanted out of it. I got the camouflage and I got the sniper rifle. I got the achievement. Excuse me for holding him up. So that's one more off the list, which is nice. Actually, you know what? Let's see if I can. There it is, 100%. Another achievement. Nice. You can also get 100% by equipping the stealth camouflage, but for this playthrough I'm not going to do that. And here is the famous ladder sequence. I don't love this sequence as much as most people do, but it at the very least it does give you a chance to look away for a second or grab something to drink. I mean, all you have to do is just hold up on the analog stick. I'm trying to avoid moving around in my chair too much because this thing creaks and squeaks and everything else. It's not because it's an old chair, it's not, but it's just the way these chairs are, I guess. As long as I can avoid bumping the microphone like I did in my first couple of playthroughs on this channel, I think everything will be okay. And I have the microphone much closer to me than I used to, so hopefully the audio quality is good as well. One of these days I gotta look into getting a better quality mic though, because this thing just it picks up everything, and the sound quality itself is just kind of average. Average. I would say average. Going on some desert camouflage here. I think the animal is the best one for this area. I need to get some of these guns out of my inventory as well. Having a bunch of weapons and items in your inventory causes your stamina to drain faster. I don't know by how much, but it's an unnecessary thing for sure. All right. I guess at this point we're kind of over the halfway point, maybe. I'm sitting at just enough of a distance from my laptop screen to where it would be useful to have my glasses on, but I forgot to grab them when I brought everything downstairs. I can still see it clearly enough, of course. Uh-oh. Almost forgot about him. There we go. Little Easter egg that again, I'm sure most people that have played this are aware of. If you destroy a helicopter, there's a hind D that's sitting in one of the jungle areas earlier in the game, right before you fight Ocelot. You can blow it up with C4, and if you do, you won't have it patrolling this section here. I did that in my last playthrough, and instead of having the helicopter, you have these guys on these like floating platforms, and they're a lot harder to avoid than the helicopter. There really is no advantage to taking out the helicopter as far as I'm aware. It's just a cool little thing you can do that has an impact later in the game, which by itself is neat. It's cool to have that kind of thing in the game. There's a guard coming down. I might be wrong about that. I think I am. He's up there. Sometimes that bird's eye camera does come in handy. Just trying to make sure he's stationary. He's not. All the same to me. Shrink shots in this game are so satisfying. The sound that that gun makes is the best. The rations don't recover that much stamina, but they don't expire, so they've got that going for them. You really only have to worry about food expiring if you play the game over a long period of time, i.e. if you start a game, you capture some, or you shoot some animals, you capture them, you save the game, and then you come back to it the next day. They tend to expire that way. I don't really think they expire that quickly if you just do the game in one shot, but I might be wrong about that. I don't typically eat a ton of food in the game. Well, I don't eat a ton of food that I capture. Most of the food that I eat in game is from the pantries and the warehouses, where again it doesn't expire. The rations and the noodles and all that stuff, the calorie mates. It's hard to know if they intended, when they were developing this game, intended for the tactical reload to be that useful. But man, that was a great design choice. I'm trying to remember if that was an MGS4 or not. It's been so long since I've played MGS4. Hopefully it won't be too much longer before I get to play it again. Really hoping that Master Collection 2 comes out in a relatively short amount of time. I mean, just look at those. Just look at that loading, folks. That's amazing. Again, something only someone who's played multiple versions of the game would really care about. But so good. So I can assure you it was not that fast on the PS2. They've introduced flamethrower troopers into this area now. They're kind of hinting, giving you a clue as to what's next. Actually need to go in and equip the Mosin the Gaunt, because that will come in handy for the fear fight. Actually, I've got his camouflage too, so we will use that, just so I don't take a whole bunch of unnecessary damage. Now these guardrails you can roll right over. I will say I can't talk. I apologize for these long stretches of silence on my part. I figure it better to not say anything if I don't have anything interesting to say, as opposed to trying to fill every single solitary second of the playthrough with chit-chat and start talking about things that have nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. I don't think having that battery or grabbing that battery would be super useful, but I always grab it anyway. I don't have anything equipped long enough for it to really drain the battery down. The thing I use the most is the thermal goggles. But again, I only use them for a few seconds at a time. We'll be using them here though, for sure. It's another instance where yeah, I screwed that up. I'm getting my buttons kind of crossed here. Dang it. Ah. Yes. I feel like his reaction times are quicker to the sniper rifle than they were to the MK22 on my last playthrough. There we go. I guess that wasn't the case, it's just me being terrible. You can shoot him while he's in movement, it's just a little bit harder to do that. I hate you. For some reason I thought the gun was on a... Okay, Snake, I get it. I'm trying to judge through my headphones which direction he's coming from. There we go. Yeah, that didn't go as smoothly as my last go around. Alright, back to the stealth. Another suppressor, good. Oh, almost got me, game. It really does no good to go in and take the 1911 out of your inventory, because anytime in a cutscene when Snake pulls the gun out, it goes back into your inventory, which is most cutscenes. Snake's really eager to aim that gun. Well, you CQC for a change. I just did this area not that long ago on my last playthrough, so a lot of this is still pretty fresh in my memory. Don't know if it's super necessary to take all these guys out, but I like to give myself a little bit of leeway. I probably could have just gotten by with shooting that one on the right. Camouflage. No, not naked. Dang it, I keep doing that. Scientist. No paint. Okay, I still got the sick gas spray equipped. Or in my inventory anyway. Alright, so, man, I remember playing this as a kid, or as a young teen, I guess you would say. And always waiting for Rykov to um, always waiting for Rykov to walk all the way down the stairs on the right, which I guess I'm going to have to do now. I guess because he saw me, he knew that I was the one making the knocking sound. That's kind of BS. Ideally, what you can do is lure him into the locker room area. Not right up to the lockers, but you can get him pretty darn close, and not have to drag him so far. But I botched that completely just now, and of course I would botch it playing through the game, or playing through it on YouTube. That sort of thing never happens when I'm playing through it by myself on my own time, but as soon as there's a camera on, I end up with the worst possible scenario. Alright. Even the process of equipping camouflages is a lot quicker in the Master Collection version than it was in the originals. Trying to get a little closer without bumping the table. Yeah, we're more or less in the home stretch now. Excuse me.
Sir. The shed. A completed protocol.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and save just in case. I haven't saved in a long time. Hour and 13 minutes, okay.
Tell me.
Stop it!
Who have you been talking to?
He doesn't know what you're talking about.
You'd better start.
This is something I wish there was a cutscene so you could skip it.
Khrushchev's lapdog.
It's not like the torture sequences in MGS1 or MGS2 where you have to mash a button to survive. He's going to come up to Snake in a minute and punch him in the stomach. Or just punch him, I guess, in general. But that'll do damage. You can prevent that from happening by holding down on either the weapon or the item menu, weapon or item menu button. And that'll cancel out the damage. I don't think the developers intended for you to do that. It's certainly not on the level of mashing triangle to resist torture. So I don't really know why this particular sequence needed to be a quasi gameplay.
More entertaining than he was. But first,
But it's really the only,
take a look
I believe it's the only sequence like this in the game that I can remember anyway.
what a beautiful body you have. Like a
What's up, big guy?
newborn baby. But not for
Oh, there's the little man too. What's up, Doc? Get it? What's up, Doc?
Well then, let's get started. What is your target? Is it the Shagohod? Or Sokolov? Or maybe it's the Legacy? Answer me. Who is helping you? Who let you in here? You're a tough one, but even you must have your limits. And I am a patient man.
All right. Now, a pretty well-known thing you can do here is to throw the food back at him, and he'll eat it. And if you throw back 3 pieces of food, it'll trigger a cutscene where he'll. I forgot what I was doing. I'll go. Nah, let me save it. And after the cutscene, you'll reacquire your your sleep gas cigarettes. It's not something I really need. But I am going to knock him out because some smoke grenades. And I forgot this on my last playthrough, but there's actually a part coming up here where those sleep gas, or those smoke grenades, sorry, can be somewhat useful. What are you trying to get, little guy? Cat's always reaching for something on the tables and such. I need to get those. No, wait, I don't have a backpack, so I don't have to worry about trying to equip anything. Really going the extra mile here, trying not to get spotted. It doesn't matter at this point because I've already gotten spotted or triggered like 2 or 3 alerts, but it's just instinct at this point. If you're doing this, and if you're playing this game and you're trying to get through it as quickly as possible, you could recover some of the snake's stamina right now, but it's actually a better idea not to, because you want to keep his stamina low. And I'll explain why in a little bit once we get to that point. That's why having the smoke grenades is kind of useful. You sneak around that dog relatively easy, but smoke grenade makes it even easier. You just kind of walk right through them. It's a funny thing with me and making YouTube videos. If I go on a prolonged absence, a prolonged hiatus, it is very, very difficult for me to come back. The idea of setting everything up with my laptop just seems like such a hassle. And but once I do it, once I get back into it, then I don't mind it as much. If I keep doing it, you know, try to keep to a somewhat regular schedule, it's fine. It doesn't bother me. It's the hassle of setting my laptop up isn't such a hassle, if that makes any sense. But of course, work gets in the way always. But you know, people having to work 6 days here or having your schedule flipped on a different week, it's always something. So the reason you want to keep your stamina low is because your oxygen, when you go underwater, is tied to your stamina. So if you don't have a full bar of stamina, then your oxygen will deplete faster, and Snake's health will deplete faster. So this is the Sorrow quote-unquote battle. It's not really a battle. The only thing you're supposed to do is just walk to the end of this river. But instead of doing that, you can just drown yourself right at the start, take the revival pill, and be on your merry way. Which is a massive time saver. The Sorrow, I might have just called him the Fear, I don't know. The Sorrow boss fight that we just did, it's a neat sequence. The first time you go through it, it shows you everyone that you've killed, which for us is just the bosses, you know, the Cobra unit. Even though we didn't really kill them, we took out their stamina, it still counts as a kill. Well, it doesn't count as a kill on the game. It doesn't count as a kill on your clear screen, but it counts as a kill to the Sorrow. The Sorrow sees it as a kill, even though they kind of killed themselves with their micro bombs or whatever it is they have inside of them. I'm kind of getting into the minutia of the Metal Gear details here. I don't think it'll matter to most people. Yeah, I gotta go through here and do all this now. Don't need the fork. Don't need that right now. Don't need that. That. And I'm gonna equip that too. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't think I'll need either of those two things either, but I'll equip them anyway. I'll need the thermal goggles towards the end, but we've got a good stretch coming up where it's going to be pretty action-packed. These mushrooms can be used on the fight against Volgin. They divert his electricity. I don't know if I'll use them on the fight or not. It's fairly easy to avoid his attacks anyway, but it gives you an extra little thing that you can do. Snake about to get me again with his 1911 fetish. You know what? So we're going to do something here that you can do in, I think, just about every Metal Gear Solid game. And that is fast travel. Fast traveling in the Metal Gear games works with the cardboard boxes, and this is the only area in the game where you can do it, because it's the only area in the game that has vehicles, has trucks. You can see up ahead there's a transportation truck. There's one here. Well, I think there's like 4 of them throughout the facility, but on the outside there's one here, and there's one over in the next area that you can get into. And you have a few cardboard boxes you can get in the game, and depending on which one you put on, it'll take you to a different area of Groznygrad. But what we want to do is we want to go into I'm in the wrong thing. We want to go to the weapons lab, so I'm going to I think it's box B. Right, so I had a really bad string of luck on my first attempt there going through this area. And I would like to avoid that this time. I got a better idea of where everyone's at, so maybe I won't. Maybe I won't make the same mistakes again. Where's he going?
What's wrong?
There was one guard that I forgot about, and he just threw the whole thing into chaos. Close enough, I guess. There he is. That's the jerk off that ruined my last attempt. There. Had that one a coming. It doesn't matter, but it's still like I feel like I'm flattening myself up against the surface, and he's still planting it like 2 or 3 feet in front of it. There we go. All right. Come on.
During the last...
Okay. So we're gonna throw on the Rykov mask. This will cause him to lower his guard. Yeah, this fight goes a lot quicker with that sniper rifle. Not bad at all. Took a little damage there on the end. Hey, it automatically healed, that's good. Right, so on this one, when you defeat Volgin with non-lethal means, you will get his camouflage, which is this Cold War uniform I'm wearing right now. As long as you're facing the direction of an enemy, they will not shoot you, because on the front of the uniform is the Soviet flag, on the back is the US flag. So if you have your back turned to them, they will shoot you, but if you're facing them, which you will be for the most part during this segment, you won't have to worry about taking any unnecessary damage, which is pretty good. You don't have to get these guys. Like I try to go through and shoot everyone just to give me something to do during this sequence. It's mostly, well, it's not even mostly, it's completely scripted. Now, if you don't have this camouflage on, you would want to try a little harder to take out everyone so you don't take damage, but it's such an easy camouflage to get. I might have to try playing this with mouse and keyboard sometime. I'm so used to analog controls with this that it would be useful during this sequence in particular because you're snapping between so many different targets, or you can anyway. Like say it again, you don't have to shoot all these guys. But I don't feel like it would be all that useful for the rest of the game. You can do a tad bit of damage to them with the RPG-7 if you just sit there and keep firing it at them, but it does so little it's hardly worth it, and it's just going to be me making a whole lot of extra sounds that aren't necessary. Sounds with the controller, that is. A ladybug crawling on my laptop. Got him. You have to kind of lead the target a little bit as the motorcycle's, going forward. Got him. Oh, man. I hope that didn't count as a kill, that the motorcycle colliding into the other one. I don't think that it would, but at the same time, I don't ever remember that happening to me before, so who knows? Now here's where you want to try and inflict a little bit of damage onto the Shagohod, because it'll really, you can do quite a bit here, and it'll help out with the well, if I can get the timing down right on my button presses. Alright, not bad. I've been able to do more damage to him in that part before, but I'll take what I can get. As you can see, the damage is still on him.
Only one more left. The Shagohod's not here yet. They come closer. It's still too early. The Shagohod's not here yet. They come closer. It's here!
And yet you still are. That's one of the things I hate about this fight is it'll still continue to spin for like 2 or 3 seconds after you hit the tread. A lot of times, like just now, it can cause you to miss out on a shot. Dang it. I could have got a second shot in there if it weren't for that bug. Or what I assume is a bug. Again, I don't know. Maybe that's just a consequence of not having the pressure-sensitive buttons. I mean, if that's the trade-off, I'm willing to take it. Those pressure-sensitive actions were just terrible. They weren't... I said earlier that they weren't properly recalibrated for the PS3 controller, or possibly the PS3 controller's face buttons didn't have enough travel distance. That's the word I was looking for earlier, was travel distance. That's definitely a possibility as well. But even on PS2, they were not great. Like, that's not the most intuitive control scheme that you could come up with. I think, honestly, the way to have went about it would have been to just have it to where when you go into first-person mode with a gun equipped, it just automatically aims the gun, which is how I think it works in Portable Ops. I think in Portable Ops, if you if you go into first-person mode with a gun equipped, it just automatically aims the gun, or automatically readies the gun. That's better than even what we have here, where you can click the analog stick to bring the gun up. I think, anyway. Maybe there are reasons why you wouldn't want that. Yeah, I knew that was coming. Alright, get up, get up, get up. Oh, dick. Man, that's about as bad as it gets. There we go. Man, like I said, when you're recording this stuff, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. I know I'm not the only person to make that observation, but gosh dang, this playthrough is all the proof you need that is the case. So I swear, I did not have this many snafus, this many hiccups on the last playthrough that I did. I'm really going to be upset and disappointed if I get to the end of this and find out that I killed someone without knowing it, because that can happen. On the last playthrough, I had 2 kills, and like I said, I guess one of them was the end. And it's possible that one of the guards that was next to him, because there's a guard that pushes his wheelchair on that harbor thing, or boardwalk, whatever you want to call it. There's a guard that pushes him away. So it's possible that when he blew up, he took that guy out with him. It's possible that he killed 2 people, and that's what caused the kills, as opposed to him dying. Maybe that didn't matter. Maybe he was just too close to 2 other people. I've got to look into that more. Because one of the things I'm going to have to do for an achievement is to get the Foxhound rank in this game. And I've done Foxhound on MGS3 before. As a matter of fact, I've done it in the HD collection, I think, and on the 3DS version. And it's not that hard. MGS3. It's the second easiest one to get, I think. Second to MGS4, because MGS4 doesn't have a save limit like the rest of them do. But I need to get a decent strategy together for that and know what I'm doing, because if I can kill the end, which right now I don't think that I can, if I can kill the end on that boardwalk, that would be preferable or preferable, because I don't want to have to. Okay. I didn't know if I was going to hit it there for a second. Alright, one more motorcycle sequence and then we're back on foot. If I get to the end of this and I have killed someone in game, I feel like I should say that. I don't know, YouTube's AI algorithm thing might take that a different way. If I do have kills at the end of this, I'm going to assume it was some of this motorcycle stuff, or specifically when I caused that one motorcycle to collide into the other. I'll still upload the playthrough. Obviously, because you'll be hearing it right now. And just say that if you're going to attempt this yourself, don't even worry about shooting any of the guys on the motorcycles, because there's really no reason to, as long as you have that Cold War camo equipped. Again, I'm doing it just to give me something to do during these sequences, because they're essentially auto scrollers, so you can't make them go any faster. You can slow them down if you die. That's a thing that you can do, but you can't speed them up. Kind of scared myself there for a second when I bumped my headphones. I didn't realize, or had forgotten that I had headphones on, which is kind of stupid considering there's sound coming through them, but there you go. Alright. Something I always used to do when I was playing this game for the first few times was I would heal Eva first, which causes the sequence to end and for you to go into the next cutscene. But and then afterwards you'd have to go back into the menu and heal Snake. But if you heal Snake and then Eva, it saves you some time. Right, so Yeah, camouflage first. Woodland, and let's get DPM. Excuse me. Let's get rid of that, that, that. Yeah. Wait, give me some TNT as well. And get rid of that. Yeah, I'm good with that. Alright. So real quick, I'm going to give her, just to recover that little bit of stamina that she doesn't have. And no, wrong one. Another thing I always used to do until I started watching speed runs was I thought you needed to have her follow you every step of the way, but on this part here, all you have to do is just run up to this area and it'll trigger this sequence, and then she'll automatically be right behind you, which is pretty useful. So this is something else I learned from watching speedruns, is tossing these stun grenades behind you. It slows down the guards that are following you. You don't have to throw as many as I'm throwing. I'm just being a little extra cautious, and I think you can understand why, considering all the problems I've had so far on this playthrough. So you can blow up this log, and it'll keep them from being able to catch up to you. There is another way around, but you would really have to be going slow in order for them to catch up at this point. Her get a safe distance. You don't want to get too far ahead of her either, because then she'll lose sight of you. Then you have to walk back and then, you know, motion for her to come like that again, and you know, it's just a whole thing. You want to basically stay at the distance that I am right now. I think your camouflage rating also has a lot to do with it. You can't really progress until she's right there next to you anyway. I'd say all in all, and I'll completely jinx everything now by saying that this is mostly gone better than my Twin Snakes playthrough. I do eventually plan to revisit that one. I would like to see about getting it to run on the Steam Deck, because I have it on the Steam Deck and I have the HD mod installed. Here, a guard to the right of me. I can get a little bit more liberal with my suppressor use, because I'm not going to need them for much longer. And I've got plenty of them. Oh man. I ran up to her thinking she was Emma Emmerich and I needed to grab her hand. I don't know why that happened, but that's what I was trying to do just now. That's funny. Once she gets down to about halfway stamina, she'll start belly aching about being hungry. So I'll have to give her one of those snakes I picked up a few minutes ago. They recover the most amount of stamina out of anything that you can get in this jungle area, or at least in terms of things that you don't have to go out of your way to get. That's also another glitch where sometimes when you unequip your gun and equip it, I might have mentioned that already, he's in an aiming stance. It should be just like this, where he's not aiming, but I don't know. I don't know what causes it to do that. So here's a little trick coming up that I utilize to keep her from unnecessarily draining stamina. I wait for her to get up real close, go into food, give her a snake.
Can I have seconds?
I'll go ahead and give her one of these two just to get it up to full. Don't really matter at this point. 'Cause there's not that much more walking that we have to do. Then shoot her in the head with a tranq gun. If she's asleep, she won't lose stamina. I was having to look in close. I'm like, there's several of these guards down here. Okay, there's one. Nice. I think that's a mushroom. I was thinking there's one over here to the right. Ah, there he is. There he is. There we go. Okay, that's all of them. And you kick her to wake her up. You have to motion to her again when she drops down from that ledge. Thing is, I think I've put to sleep every guard in this area, but it doesn't disable the caution, and I'm not sure why. I mean, I guess it's just like a scripted kind of sequence, so maybe that's the reason. But in most other areas, if you put everyone to sleep, if there's a caution going, it'll go away.
Let's see what you're made of. Let's see what you're made of. Nice.
I should have just rolled into her. You can counter CQC by rotating the analog stick and pressing the CQC button. That's my understanding of it anyway, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Well, it always works. It's just whether or not you're able to strike back at her after you counter. It seems kind of random on that end, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being an idiot. That's probably the case. No, the scientist uniform gets higher than the snow. Okay. I guess that's as high as I can get it. I don't think I had the snow camouflage on my last playthrough. Yeah, I think I screwed that up. Don't know why that last shot didn't land. I know why that one didn't land. I went for her head on the first shot and then messed up my aim on the second one. Too much time in between shots. Ah, dang it. I knew I took that shot too late. As soon as I pushed the button, I knew. Where'd she go? Ah, there we go. There we go. Nice little cycle. Problem with using the Mosin Nagant as opposed to the MK22, which I used on this fight on my last go around, is that the Mosin Nagant is unsuppressed, so as soon as you fire one shot, it gives away your position, so you have to move. You don't have to move very far, but you do have to move a little bit. Otherwise, she'll just keep shooting at you. It went pretty good though. That went better than that went better than my last playthrough. But again, on the last playthrough, I didn't have the sniper rifle, so I was doing less damage per hit. I actually ended up running out of MK22 ammo, so yeah, I had to use CQC and rolls to take her out. But that's effectively the end of the playthrough. That's really all the gameplay there is. We got another sequence with Ocelot coming up, but there's not much to that.
Patriot. Why are you giving me this?
I love the music that plays during this sequence.
Or should I say, Snake? You're a wonderful man. Kill me. Kill me now. Do it. There's only room for one boss and one snake.
I can't wait to see this sequence, the whole game, but especially this sequence in the remake. I never really gotten particularly emotional at that scene, and I think part of it stems from my first playthrough of the game, because I died on that fight so many times, the fight to the boss. So by the time it was over, I was glad she was dead. I also don't think their story particularly resonated with me in this game. Seeing how it affects future events in MGS4, I think makes me appreciate it more in retrospect. But I think the main thing is just that the character models, they're not as realistic looking as what we have now. And like MGS4, for example, I think this game I think holds up visually pretty well. But the character models, like, again, are not the best. But in MGS4, they've got so many micro details going on in their faces, and they're able to sell so much more emotion. There's spoiler alert for MGS4, and seriously, skip the next like 30 or 40 seconds, or just skip to the clear screen if you haven't played MGS4, because I wouldn't want to ruin the ending for anyone. But at the end of MGS4, Big Boss comes back, of course, and they have this great moment between Snake and Big Boss at the Arlington Cemetery, and right as Big Boss is dying and his cigar drops out of his mouth, you can literally see like Snake like holding back tears because of how good the facial capture and the details are, and that just kills me every time I see it. Like I'm in actual tears. Like, I'm not holding them back. Like, I'll be straight up honest about that. So when they're able to redo this sequence, which I hate about hitting that, when they're able to redo this sequence for the remake, I think it's going to be much more impactful for me personally. I understand though that for most people, they don't need for fans of the game anyway, they don't need realistic character models to sell them on the emotion. You know, the writing and the music pull a lot of the weight, but that's just me. But yeah, I hope that you all enjoyed this playthrough. Look, I'm by no means a great speedrunner at this game, at this series. I think I do well enough. You can certainly find much better speedruns of Metal Gear Solid 3 and every other Metal Gear game for that matter on YouTube. But if you watched mine from start to finish, or if you watch it just for a few minutes, I very much appreciate it. I hope that I did a good job in explaining some of the Speedrunning tactics, like I said, I haven't watched a world record speedrun for this game in a long time. I'm sure there's way more speedrunning tricks and strategies that you can use that'll shave off even more time. And I need to check out some, especially now with the Master Collection. I'm sure there's new world records being set simply because of the faster loading times. But yeah, I really tried to go into explaining how these things worked. And hopefully someone out there will find it useful, maybe. At the very least, I had a lot of fun doing it. I do enjoy these playthroughs. And I might do the rest of them, the rest of the collection. Maybe do Metal Gear Solid 2. I need to practice at Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake more, the MSX titles, because I enjoy those very much, but I don't have that encyclopedic knowledge of the game design. Like, I don't know when to stop, when to run, you know, all those little things that I know with MGS2, MGS3. So I need to practice more at those before I attempt to do something on YouTube with them. But 1 and 2 I know pretty well. But MGS1, the Master Collection version, needs some work, because that control just isn't good. It's playable. Excuse me, it's very much playable, but it is not preferable. MGS2 plays just fine though. And I'll have this playthrough time stamped, as you'll no doubt already seen. So if you want to see certain sequences or skip to the clear screen, you can do that. Just hoping to see an achievement pop at the end of all this. Otherwise, it's it was kind of a bust, or it will have been a bust. Well, I'll be so interested to see how much of the copyrighted material they'll be able to retain when MGS4 gets re-released. Because God, there's so much in that game. The iPod, the PlayStation 3 stuff. I hope they can keep all of that in there, because it's such a part of that game's DNA. At the very least, if they have to take the iPod out, I hope they can replace it with a generic MP3 player, because that is one of my favorite parts of that game, is having that iPod and being able to listen to various music tracks from previous Metal Gear games or from other Kojima or Konami games while you're sneaking around through the battlefield. It's such a cool thing. And all of that music is burned into my head, and it gives you something to go after too in the gameplay, because a lot of the tracks you collect, you find them hidden throughout the levels, which is pretty cool. Some of them you unlock through getting certain ranks and such. Good old Sean Eyestone, man! That guy was he was the host of the Kojima Productions podcast, and I really missed that podcast. And they have a version of it that's in MGS4 that acts as an audio commentary, and you play along with them, and they describe all these different things and show you secrets, or tell you about secrets in the levels and such, and talk about what it was like to make certain levels, like Shadow Moses, for example. It's so cool. I love that podcast, and I hope that is in the re-release as well. Or if not, maybe someone can mod it in.
Yes, Groznygrad and the
Yeah,
Grand research facility.
this one's not skippable.
Without a trace. I understand, sir, but they were necessary sacrifices. Yes, the CIA has taken care of the boss themselves.
So that's two sequences that I wish were skippable. The first one was, I guess, technically gameplay, the whole torture sequence, and then this. I was thinking you could skip it on a second playthrough, but
Yes,
that's apparently
the
not the
president
case.
is relying on us to keep a lid on the
That's an
whole
idea
thing.
for a mod.
We've got him by the balls.
If someone can make it to where you can skip the
It should make a
credits.
valuable trump card in future
I like the
negotiations.
credits. I like the music that plays over the credits. But when you're doing like speed runs and stuff, and you just want to get to the end to see if you achieved what you wanted to achieve, it would be great if you could skip the credits altogether. I can understand why they wouldn't add that feature, why Konami wouldn't add it, because if someone were playing through this, right, and it was like the first playthrough of the collection of Metal Gear Solid 3, whatever the case may be,
Yes, it's me.
and they got to the credits and accidentally hit a button to skip it, that person would be saying, they took out the credits,
The philosopher's
and
legacy is now
they'd get so
safe
much
with
crap
us
for that.
in
It's
America's hands.
I get why they wouldn't do it.
With this money, yes, the philosophers can finally be revived.
People are already a little bit too sensitive about that to begin with. Right before the game came out, they discovered that there was a new set of credits in the game for the people that worked on the Master Collection, which makes sense. Those people should be credited for their work. Hideo Kojima was not involved in the Master Collection, so he wouldn't be credited.
Yes,
And but websites were trying to make a big to do out of that whole thing. I'm just like, really?
That's right. Groznygrad has been obliterated.
There's a lot of things you can criticize Konami for. There's a lot of things you can criticize this collection for. Legitimate things. But trying to pull stuff out of thin air like that don't matter and that are non-issues is just, it's a little bit ridiculous. That's where the haters lose a little bit of credibility with me. And I'm not trying to lump everyone in together, because I think for the most part, most people are expressing their concerns over legitimate problems in the game. But just to see some of these websites try to get in on the clickbait and the rage is just, it's a bit of a turn off. Websites that I follow too that I thought were a little bit better than that.
Still haven't discovered my true identity. They have no
But I'm not going to go into all that now. And it's over. It's done with.
I will continue my activities as a contact for the new government. Yes, it appears that no one knew that I was Adam. Of course, I'm always at the CIA's disposal, Mr. Director.
All right. Did we do it? Yes, I got it. Haha. All right. 2 hours and 8 minutes. I'm gonna edit some parts out of this. Try and get it under 2 hours. Probably edit that end fight. Edit out that part where I screwed up in the hangar. All right. Got the pigeon rank. How about that? Well, there it is, folks. That is it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this playthrough, please consider hitting the like button on your way out, and also please consider subscribing. I plan to do more of these. I won't say when. Anytime I try to commit to a date, I inevitably miss it by a long shot. I still got Jurassic Park games that I've promised to play through and haven't done yet. And the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park is going to be over in a couple of months, and those playthroughs won't have the 30th anniversary banner on them if I wait until next year to do them. So maybe I'll get back to that too. But yeah, it was a lot of fun coming back and doing this again. It's kind of reinvigorated my my passion for it. So I will definitely do the other games in the collection, at least the solid games. Like I said, the MSX titles I need to practice on. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.